All right, let's head into the papers now. See what the headlines are in Nigeria, and very interesting, divergent headlines. We have in the studio publisher of CKN News, Kehinde Nwandu, joining us in the studio as well. We also have another journalist, Ma-Afolabi, joining us. It's journalist affair this morning.
Yes, but not a hangout.
It's certainly not the hangout.
It's a breakfast.
It's a breakfast, exactly. And we have all the teas and coffees going. All right, that's fine. That's fine. Let's begin with the blueprints. Insecurity, Almajiri must go. Federal government declares. Governors aid crime out and crime not providing for teachers, schools. Buhari saying that, and urges increase in state IGR, VAT, agriculture, and NEC sets up committee on banditry. You can find all that on the front page of the blueprints. News Direct is the next point of call now. 112 billion naira Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. Federal government suspends 350 billion naira on 40% of project. Babalaki is revealing this. Says no design for Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. Okay, controversy on that. Okay, moving on now to the Nigerian Tribune. Insecurity, it's time to flush out robbers, kidnappers from Yorubaland. Adams is saying that. And federal government moves to prescribe Almajiri system. $1 billion approved by NEC meant for military. NSA is saying that. Okay, you can find all that on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune. From there, let's move to the Vanguard. Insecurity, we need Fulani vigilantes in Southeast. Mieti Allah is revealing this. And there are multiple riders there. Ohaneze will resist Fulani vigilantes in Igbo land. Nwodo is saying that. We're not against cattle rearing, but, says Southeast governors, it's a provocative agenda. Fanny Ferrer is saying that. We'll make our position on state police known soon. Governors are saying that. And police bemoan lack of personnel. Okay, you have all that on the front page of the Vanguard. Let's move now to The Nation. The Nation newspaper is the next one now. Governors endorse state police to fight criminals. And the push for new law begins. And El Rufai differs. And Sage urges caution. Okay, you can find all that debate on the state police on the front page of The Nation. I will be talking about that shortly. Let's go to the last paper now. The Guardian is the last one. Nepotism is corruption, Obasanjo tells presidency. And alleges poor consultation on African Free Trade Agreement, fiscal indiscipline. Nigeria's renegotiation delaying ratification, says official. Russia seeks more commitment to raise deals above $20 billion. You can find all that on the front page of The Guardian. All right, gentlemen, this story on the front page of The Nation newspaper, governors endorse state police to fight criminals, is one thing I'd like us to look at. And it says push for new law begins, and El Rufai differs, and Sagi urges caution. Now, there has been much debate about this state police. So many leaders and so many people still believe that Nigeria is not ripe for a state police. Let me start with you, Chris.
Well, that has been one of the, when people talk about, say that we should look at the Constitution once again, when people say that the present structure as it is not working, and a whole lot. State police is one of the key elements in our eyes. And one of those that believe that it will be able to work, although a lot of people believe that it will be misused, especially by the governors, against political opponents and the rest of them. But if we look at the current security challenges we're having across the country, it has become so apparent that this is just the way to go. Community policing is what is obtainable across the globe, even in the advanced countries. Now we also have to bring a lot back confidence to the people. I was just talking with a top security officer some days back. I said one of the problems we're having, he was telling me, one of the greatest problems they're having is that people no longer have confidence in giving them information to be able to handle some of these challenges. And that is, I said, that is the reason why we need community policing, because as it is presently, a situation where we have to wait for the IG to give instruction to the Commissioner of Police before he can take action becomes a problem. It takes a long time.
And the deal would have been done.
The deal would have been done.
When it comes to the issue of we're not ripe, we have always had this. Even at the days of independence.
Yes.
A lot of people had Nigeria is not ripe for independence yet. Just keep it. But we had independence and
we are living.
All right, Janet, I wonder what is at the heart of this seeming feeling of the fact that no, Nigeria is not ripe. And when the evidence is there that something drastic has to be done and something different has to be done.
I'm not looking at it from the angle of Nigeria is ripe, Nigeria is not ripe.
Okay.
I want to look at it from the angle of the advantages and disadvantages of state policing. If you look at the advantage, of course, security will be speeding up in terms of decision making. But if you look at the disadvantage, some governors may abuse it because they will now be, they are the chief security officer of the state. They will now have the last say on police matters in that state. They can do and undo. So there will be a lot of abuses, there will be a lot of impunity, and you know, the governors will become very powerful.
But it is expected that there will be laws guiding the operation of these outfits, whether they are state police or they're vigilantes or whatever. If they're approved by the law of the state, there will be laws guiding, and whoever feels dissatisfied by any of their actions can go to court and demand any kind of restitution.
But there are laws guiding everything in Nigeria, and people are breaking the laws. They are not even respecting court orders, even when judgments, sometimes when judgments are given, they don't go by that judgment. So the same thing would happen. Laws will govern, but would they obey the laws? That is the issue. Because I feel that police, no doubt, needs to be reorganized. There's no doubt about that in terms of personnel, in terms of equipment, in terms of training. A lot of things that collapse in the police force, even in ranking. That's why you see that when there is a riot, a commissioner of police will go to that scene. What's his business? If there were a serious system, a system that is, you know, put in place in such a way that maybe it's the DP of that area they're supposed to go, or the area commander, the CP has no business in an area of riot or fighting or election violence. Okay. Look at what happened in Port Harcourt. A whole assistant commissioner of police or a commissioner was picked like a fly out of ticker. You saw that video when hoodlums hijacked him. What was he doing there? Because the system has collapsed. People are now getting promotion through corrupt practices.
All right. I wish we had a lot of time to dwell on this, but this is how much we'll take right now. Janet Ma-Afolabi, thank you very much for coming on. Thank you. Chris Kehinde Nwandu, thank you so much.
It's always a pleasure to be here.
The youngest lawyer.
In the making.
In the making.
He's still in the making. It's all right.
Time to take a look at stories making the headlines in Nigerian newspapers. I have with me in the studio Chris Kehinde Nwandu, journalist and publisher of CKN News, and also a baby lawyer, as we call him, and Janet Ma-Afolabi, as also a journalist and publisher of School Report. Thank you for coming on TVC Breakfast.
Thank you very much for having us.
All right, let's head straight to the papers now, and I start with the Daily Trust. Insecurity, federal government moves to ban Almajiri system. Buhari, it's a crime for parents to keep children out of school. We'll be looking at that shortly on the front page of the blueprint now. Insecurity, Almajiri must go, federal government declares. Governors aid crime not providing for teachers, schools. Buhari urges increase in states, IGR, VAT, agriculture. Next sets up committee on banditry. We'll move to the front page of News Direct. 112 billion naira Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. Federal government suspends 350 billion naira on 40%. Or federal government spends 350 billion naira on 40% of project. Babalaki says no design for Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. And to the front page of the Nigerian Tribune, insecurity, it's time to flush out robbers, kidnappers from Yoruba land, Adams. Federal government moves to prescribe Almajiri system. $1 billion approved by NEC meant for military, NSA. To the front page of the Vanguard now, insecurity, we need Fulani vigilantes in Southeast, Miyetti Allah. Ohanezel resists Fulani vigilantes in Igbo land, Nwandu. We are not against cattle rearing, but, says Southeast governors, it's a provocative agenda. Afenifere will make our position on state police known soon. Governors, police bemoan lack of personnel. To the front page of The Nation, governors endorse state police to fight criminals. Push for new law begins. El Rufai differs. Sage urges caution. And finally, on the front page of The Guardian, nepotism is corruption. Obasanjo tells presidency, alleges poor consultation of AFCFTA, fiscal indiscipline. Nigeria's renegotiating delay ratification, says official. Russia seeks more commitment to raise deals above $20 billion. All right, I'd like for us to look at this story that has to do with the federal government prescribing a ban on our Almajiri education system. And I start with you, Janet. What do you make of this move? Is it a welcome development? Because before now, several years now, there has been a push by a lot of persons to, prescribe this and put an end to this form of education system.
I think it's a fantastic decision, and I think it's a decision that they should just take immediately and then begin to execute every action with immediate effect, because the Almajiri system is not child-friendly. Yes, it's not child-friendly. I took my time to do a project on what is really this Almajiri thing, and I was told that it's a 3-year mandatory period for every child.
Mandatory?
Mandatory. To go to Malam, the teacher,
yes,
that's to learn the Quran. So he goes there, stays with him, and so many other children from different homes, many of them from very poor homes, they live with this Malam who is not able to feed them. So in the morning, he sends them out to go and beg and eat. In the evening, the same thing. So these children are exposed to all manners of abuse. I have witnessed so many, because I came in close contact with them.
With some of them?
Some of them even taught me how to speak Hausa. You see the wounds, physical wounds on these children. Nobody is treating those wounds on them. And then they are used as house boys. People send them on errands to go to market, to wash clothes, to iron clothes, to fetch water. They use them and then give them just food or mere.
Let's bring Chris into this now. Looking at the fact that, according to what Janet just said, it is a compulsory 3-year training, so to speak, and this is also enshrined in the religion. You know how Nigerians are when it comes to the issue of religion. How challenging would this be, ensuring that, enforcing this prescription in the north? Well,
it is a difficult task. I had the privilege of going to Bauchi sometime early last year. And that was my first contact with the Almajiris, and I was shocked by what I saw. After that, I did a piece. I wrote a piece that Nigeria is really sitting on a time bomb. That is by the way. But let us also look at it from the point that we also realize that most people have forgotten that the last regime under Goodluck Jonathan did something about the Almajiris. He established schools, specifically not the one that Janet is talking about now. I saw most of those schools in the north.
How effective have
that is the issue. What I had thought that the government would have keyed into that, because schools were established, where they're supposed to be taken off the street, given the necessary, taken to school and made to read and write. You understand what I'm trying to say? And immediately, the government, especially in the north, they didn't key into that. The governors didn't key into that. I saw buildings. I visited some of those schools, even in Bauchi and some other neighboring states, which I visited. I saw some. So what I would have thought, or what I believe should have been done, is that for them to have taken to the next level, not immediately after that government hesitated, then they stopped it. So I totally agree with what Jenny said, that there is a need for them to do something, for the government to do something immediately. But do the governors have the powers to do that? Do they have the will? Do they have the political will? That's the question. Do they have the political will to do that?
How challenging will it be? Because for most of them, this has become a way of life where they can even make money.
Some of them even believe that it's enshrined in the religion which they practice.
But the governor came out to say this is not part of our religion.
But that's what is happening. In fact, let me give you a typical example. I remember as we were moving around, I saw about 10 children fighting. And what was the problem? And I just moved there. They were fighting over a loaf of bread. A loaf of bread. Over 10, 15 children were fighting. We have to stop and just we bought more bread and just gave them the rest of it. That is how challenging and how difficult it is.
But then if we are to, because this move is being made by the federal government as a way of tackling insecurity. If this is done, would it really impact the security situation in the country? Because if you are prescribing Almajiri, what is being offered to them?
Veronica, if government has the willpower to prescribe this Almajiri system, and then they don't go back on it, insecurity will drop. It may not drop to 0 level, but from 100%, it may go as low as 30. Really? Because I'm telling you, in Kano, everywhere, because these children, they form a ready market for banditry, for Boko Haram, for all manners of criminality. They live permanently on the streets, and the only place they know as home is the street. In Kano, I lived in Kano in the 80s. I told you that I'm very close to some of them. So the people around there know that some of them are criminals. A trader wanted to sell banana to me, and from there I wanted to give money to the Almajiris, so all of them came. He said, no, I should not allow them to come near his store. I said, why? He said, because they are criminals. I said, well, this is where I'm going to give them the money. I don't want to go and meet them there. Because on the street of Kano, as at May 13 that I went to Kano, you see them 20, 15, the minimum you see in a group on the streets of Kano, I quote me that I said it, is 15 to 20. Gathered in, yes.
That's a huge number.
Huge number. And these are teenagers. You see them on the streets like that. No job, nothing.
The governor of that state has also said that children must parents must send their children to school. But then the aspect of the Child Rights Act has not been adopted by that state.
Yes,
so,
yes.
What do you make of this?
That's the problem, because the Child Rights Act ought to have been domesticated in most of the states. Yeah. Okay, except for 1 or 2 states that have agreed to that. But the problem we have, the challenge we have, as I've always said, is that once the government or the governors, let's look at it, I don't want to use the word government loosely now, governors, the state governments, especially in the north, they have the political will. They should know and realize that education is very key. It is very, very fundamental. Most of these children in the north don't go to school, and they become easy targets for bandits, for the terrorists, and the rest of them, which they can use. And you know the way we say over here, an idle hand is always a devil's workshop, and they capitalize on that. So if they can see it through, it will be a very good development. All right,
Janet Ma-Afolabi, CKN, Kehinde Nwandu, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
TVC Breakfast.
Let's head into the papers now, see what the headlines in Nigeria are saying this morning. And I have with me 2 journalists. Kehinde Nwandu is the publisher of CKN News, and we have Janet Ma-Afolabi, journalist and publisher of Scroll Report. It's good to have you in the studio. It's good to be here. Right.
Thank God it's Friday.
Thank God it's Friday. The Fridays are always good.
It's always a very good day.
Yeah. Daily Trust is where we start from this morning. Insecurity. Federal government moves to ban Almajiri system. Buhari, it's a crime for parents to keep children out of school. Okay, the federal government is looking at this right now. From there, let's go to the blueprint. Insecurity, Almajiri must go, federal government declares. Governors aid crime, not providing for teachers, schools. Buhari is saying this. Urges increase in states' IGR, VAT, agriculture, and NEG sets up committee on banditry. You can find all that on the front page of the blueprint. Okay, News Direct, 112 billion naira Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. Federal government suspends 350 billion naira on 40% on project. Babalaki is revealing this and says no design for Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. All that on the News Direct. And the next is Nigerian Tribune. Insecurity, it's time to flush out robbers, kidnappers from Yoruba land. Gani Adams, the area on Okakanfo of Yoruba land, is saying this. And federal government moves to proscribe Almajiri system. And $1 billion approved by NEC meant for military. The NSA, National Security Advisor, is saying this. And from there, let's go to the Vanguard. The Vanguard is the next paper now. In security, we need Fulani vigilantes in Southeast. Niete Allah is saying this and has some multiple riders there to explain more. Haneze will resist Fulani vigilantes in Igbo land. Modo is saying this. And we're not against cattle rearing, but, says Southeast governors, it's a provocative agenda. Fanny Ferre is saying this. We'll make our position on state police known soon. Governors are saying this. And police bemoan lack of personnel. You can find all of those on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper. The next port of call is The Nation. The Nation newspaper says governors endorse state police to fight criminals. The push for new law begins. And Erufai differs and Sagi urges caution. You can find that on the front page of The Nation. And Guardian newspaper is the last one for this morning. Nepotism is corruption, Obasanjo tells presidency. And alleges poor consultation on the Africa Free Trade Agreement, fiscal indiscipline, and Nigeria's renegotiation delaying ratification, says official. And Russia seeks more commitment to raise deals above $20 billion. Okay. All right. Gentlemen, let's go to this issue on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune on talking about insecurity. It's time to flush out robbers, kidnappers from Yoruba land. Gani Adams is saying this, and federal government moves to prescribe a Almajiri system. Now, the point there is, when we have known how effective and functional the regional system were in the First Republic, all that gone, whether political or economic or however way, all that has gone now with the presence of states. The constitution no longer recognizes regions. But somehow there's still this regional composition of mindset where the country is broken into 6 geopolitical zones and people see themselves in that regard. Talking about the issue of security, how does this headline come to you if in seeing the effectiveness of police? Let me start with you, Chris, before I go to Jen.
Yes, we have to be able to appropriate the headline. Some few days back, the area on Okakamfo of Yoruba land, Gani Adams, apparently is getting worried with the level of insecurity in the southwest this time around. And,
which is his area of
which
jurisdiction.
is his area of jurisdiction. So, quote and unquote, he's the general, local, if you call it local general. For the
sociocultural general
for the Yoruba race. So that has gotten him worried. And because of that, he now gave an ultimatum, a 7-day ultimatum that the headsmen who have been causing havoc around the southwest and the rest of them should leave, or else there will be consequences. Based on that, a few days ago, the Inspector General of Police had to send his chief of staff and other senior police officers to have a tete with him. And at the end of it all, they said, okay, fine. We have a serious problem now. He's not talking of Nigeria now, he's talking about the Southwest, and that we need to do something. So, put that in perspective. Also realize that just a few days back, the son of the immediate Minister of Health was kidnapped in Ibadan. And the Ibadan-Ife road has become a terrible, because I applied that route regularly because of my school. And so the level of insecurity is no longer now limited to the north. It has shifted to the southwest. It's happening in the east. It's happening everywhere around. The only place that relatively okay now, I seems to be Benue. We don't seem to be hearing so much about
Benue is not sleeping.
No, but at least. So with that, it goes to show that something has to give. Then, a few days ago, it also got me worried when the Chief of Army Staff came out to make a statement. If you listen to the statement he made, where he's saying that most of them are not like this. Military guys are also not keen in. Some of them are not keen into the agenda of the military, which in itself is a big indictment. A big indictment. So, putting that in perspective, I think there's a need for us to be able to do something about what is happening.
Okay, Janet, like he has said, it is not necessarily even only about the southwest. The southeastern states they have their issues, they have their challenges. In the South, they have their challenges. North Central has its challenges. Northeast and Northwest, all the regions have their problems. But if we look at the positive side of these, where, okay, the OPC in the Southwest has some level of capacity in keeping the peace within their region. And if you go to other regions as well, do you see that as the way to go in helping the police, you know, keep the peace?
I think it's a way to go, because if you crime map every region, you will see that there are peculiar kind of crimes. Northeast has its own problem, Northwest, you know, South, and Southeast and Southwest. But banditry was not part of the problems of Southwest. It was very far. We used to look at it very far in the north, but now it has come so close for comfort. And the leaders are not feeling comfortable, because many of them are always going to their hometown for one reason or the other. And these kidnappers have no respect for anybody. They kidnap indiscriminately. Even commercial buses, they ask everyone to come down. In fact, the more passengers, the more passengers, the better. Because one of them confessed that in the last 6 months, they have made 200 million from ransom. So many people had never seen
it's
1 million.
It's becoming lucrative, even though it's a serious issue, but it's becoming lucrative from their perspective.
Exactly. So I'm glad that the Ààrẹ Ọ̀nà Kakanfò is taking that step. And you know, when there was increase in robbery in the Southwest, in Lagos at that time, the OPC stepped in, and they were now hired or employed as vigilantes to watch over some estates, some residences, some places in Lagos, and the crime rate came down. So if they are going to use that system now on the Osun, on the increase in kidnapping Osun, I think it may work, because right now vigilantes are already, not OPC, the local vigilantes are now being asked to go into bushes to comb out these kidnappers, because even other robbers are now cashing in on the rate of banditry. Other robbers, they were just local robbers and were silent, are now using the opportunity of the increase in banditry.
Okay. In about 15 years ago, Chris, if you remember the days of Bakassi boys, Egbesu, you know, and all of that, that period of time, even though there was high level of what people may call unprofessional approach to how these things are handled, but there was relative peace around. Do you think that is the way to go right now?
Well, the way it's going, we might just get back to that again, because now people are now going back to self-help, because the way it is, it's so obvious that our security apparatus are getting overwhelmed. The police are getting overwhelmed, the military are getting overwhelmed, and the rest of them. Even the police that are supposed to be internally, in charge of security internally, are now compelled to join the military to fight insurgencies that are supposed to also joins them. And the military now joins them. And so there's a fusion. So, and that might end up, and that is why the issue of state police is coming up. Some states already started putting something together. If in Lagos, we have something like a quasi-security outfit, although not armed presently. Some other states are already doing that. And if they cannot be able to get the necessary support they need, they may resort to that. And that, specifically the Bakassi, remember how the Bakassi started in Anambra State. It was started from Anambra State. And within a short time, the whole of the Southeast just became relatively calm. Although the kind of things, they were so gruesome, the way they went about it and the rest of them, but it brought some level of sanity within this thing. So if you get to a point where the security cannot be able to handle, what I just think that needs to be done is that there should be a kind of balance between the security, our normal security, the police and the rest of them, and don't forget what the civilian JTF is doing in the north. You can see the success that happened, because it's not because of our military were so good or fantastically doing a wonder, but because they were able to synergize with the civilian JTF. That's what they were able to record those. So if that is now replicated in other parts of the country, I think we'll get some level of success.
All right. Now, the issue of having all of this non-state informal security outfits here and there, some persons were saying they can all be carved into the new state police system, that everyone is trying to, reason how it is going to look like and all of that. Janet, you think that's...
I don't think so. I don't think they should be carved into the new police. Because the police has its own...
professional standard.
And then the kind of
Training and
not
Training and orientation.
The orientation.
Okay, the
The
mindset.
moment the local vigilantes join the police, their mentality will change. Because there are three categories of people in the police.
Okay.
So I don't know which one they will go and fit in. The professionals, the criminals, and those who are using the police force as a stopgap till they find another job.
Okay.
So when they join, they will join one of those groups.
All right, I see.
that's a big one.
3 types of police.
Yes.
All
I had
right.
that today.
It's good to learn that today. Thank you very much, Janet Ma-Afolabi. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you. And Chris Kehinde, thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right.